All right, everybody, welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez, and today we're back with another episode. I'd kind of debated doing a news segment today. Just yesterday was so light on baseball. There wasn't a whole lot happening. We're still talking about the slide at home plate with the Mets. There's still a lot of that going around and all that, a lot of umpire woes, but nothing like substantially crazy to talk about today. Obviously, we have injuries up and down. Just teams are still swapping places at the top. But figured we'd do something a little bit different today than talk about news. I may hop on tomorrow and do a news segment just because we've had a whole week since I've done a last news segment. But again, I don't want to kind of like wear that out, So what we're going to do today is a little bit different. Though I do want to talk about like 2 or 3 things that we had. Lindor had his flu game yesterday. He was taken out or requested the day off because he thought he was either going to shit his pants or vom at short. So they took him out. He tried to recover, didn't recover, came to the field. Obviously, still got to show up for work, so he shows up. And I guess was never on the docket to play. Begs to come in. He's feeling a little bit better, I guess, and then just walks it off and has a great day. So that's news. I mean, other than that, I really didn't see a whole lot happening that I'm like, oh my God, that's like baseball news. Like, no, I mean, I heard that Leiter might come back and make a start next week. So there's a lot of stuff up in the air, but next week will be the tell of like all this like stuff that's kind of like floating around if it's going to become something real or not. But nonetheless, like I said, we're going to take a step away from news. We're going to kind of hop back into a little bit more of a stat analysis here today. So we're going to build my ideal lineups, kind of like an all-star lineup for the American League and the National League. And that kind of gives you a tell on who I think are the best players in the league. So we're going to go through it. We're going to look at stat leaders, everything in between. So we're going to start with the American League. We'll do pitchers last, and we will do a 1 through 9, including a DH. So we're going to go through who I think are the best. I've kind of have an idea. I kind of been going through stats this morning. That's why I'm starting so late at 6:50. And I just was trying to mentally piece together teams. It's kind of tough right now. I mean, there's a lot of guys leading it. I mean, there's a lot of studs playing right now. A lot of guys that are just lighting it up. So it makes it hard on me to make this team. But nonetheless, let's get rolling. I'm going to do it on my phone. I wanted to screen share. I couldn't quite get it to work for the people on YouTube, but we will talk about this. I'll probably share my screen, to be honest with you, so we can look at stats. So here we go. Let's share some screen here. Okay, so we're going to start with the American League. We're going to start with catchers. So every player I think is going to have a pretty solid case here, especially these 7 guys. Obviously, if you didn't think I was going to pick Salvador Perez, you're out of your fucking mind. Because, dude, look at these stats we got here. So we got Adley Rutschman is a close second, though, because I think if we're looking at longevity, I think if we're picking who's hot at the exact right now moment, Salvador Perez is at the top of the list. There's no question. He's got a 1 dot season right now. OPS, batting .355. He's leading all catchers and batting average. Really hard to go with Rutschman, though. If we're playing the game of like longevity and who's going to have like, as of now, a longer career, Salvador's getting up there in age. He's been around the league for a long time. Since he was with Kansas City, like back in 14, 15, 16. I mean, he's been with Kansas City his whole career, but he's been playing in the big leagues since Kansas City had their massive run when they were just with absolute monsters, and they had Hosmer, they had all those guys. I think Greinke was still over there at the time. They had what's that dude, the pitcher who passed away? He used to throw gas. Ventura, yes, that's him. Ventura, they had him. Dude, they had a lot of dudes. I just remember Hosmer. I remember Moustakas. I remember all those guys. So that was a stud. Paxton. I think James Shields was like, that team was stupid back in 14-15. Man, they were monsters. So, like I said, he's been there for a minute. It's really hard for me to go with anyone else other than Salvador Perez because of, number one, he's a vet. If you're making any lineup, you'd want him in it, and he's just absolutely tearing it up. No question. Rutschman, close second. Yanier Diaz for the Astros doing pretty good as 283, but it's a very big difference between Salvador Perez's 355 and then you got Rutschman 310 and then drops all the way to 283 top catcher. So, I'm sorry. Then he goes 267 to Logan O'Hoppe And then Jonah Heim's batting 263. It's still a big jump. I mean, 355 and then drops big to 310, then drops big again to 283. So pretty obvious who we're taking there. Now let's move on to first base. Okay. So in the American League top three we got here, we got Josh Naylor, obviously, 858 OPS, 261 batting average. We're going to go off OPS. I mean, we can go off OPS. I think that, honestly, average is the best tell because it's how many hits you're getting. I think that that's the biggest. It's kind of an undefeated stat line if you're looking for productivity. It's average. OPS, yeah, I mean, OPS is the next. I think that average is just classic. Can't really beat at your average. Still, Josh Naylor, he's leading in just about every fucking category, dude. Not even close. Yeah, he is leading in. No, so he's getting beat by Mountcastle and OBP. So OBP, we got Mountcastle in first with Naylor in second at a 344. But average again. Oh, Mountcastle has Naylor beat by quite a bit. Ooh, are we gonna be ballsy here? Are we going Mountcastle? Average. He beats him in average. He beats him in OBP. He beats him in. Oh no, so obviously Josh has him beat by a bit in slugging, and then OPS Josh has him beat. They're really an even tie, average in OBP, and then versus slugging and OPS. That's a tough call here. Let's look home runs. Naylor has 4. I mean, Naylor has 7. Mountcastle has 5. RBI is 4 and 6. I feel like I'm leaving a lot of other guys out. Obviously, you got some honorable mentions here. You got Pasquantino for Kansas City. You got Rizzo doing well. Vlad. I know I made a video about Vlad struggling, but not horrible at the number 5 spot. He's batting 231, 683 OPS, 347 slugging percentage. So not horrible. 3 home runs, kind of light. 18 walks, so that's pretty heavy. I think he's got the most walks. So he's leading everybody in walks, Mr. Vlad. In walks, you got everybody. And also pretty high there in strikeouts, 29 strikeouts. A little bit less than Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo doesn't actually lead in strikeouts. It's actually Andrew Vaughn of the Chicago White Sox. So, 32. So a lot of strikeouts on this list, man. Damn. Whew. But okay, so if we're really gonna have to pick somebody between Mountcastle and Naylor, that's who it's really coming down to. Because, yikes, 290, 261, 345, 344, 95. That's slugging percentage, though. God damn, this is hard. Just because Naylor's been around a bit, I have more faith in him that he's the better guy. He's the vet guy. Mountcastle's been around, and he's leading in batting average, but the slugging can't ignore, and the OPS can't ignore. I know I made a statement that average is king. It's the classic stat, but by 1 point on the OBP, it's not enough to sell me there because 1-2 at bats could flip this on its head. So, and if that's the case, then Naylor's leading in 3 categories, not just 2. So we're going with Naylor at the first base spot. A tough spot, a tough place to be, but we're gonna go Naylor. We have to. Naylor, he's the guy. Okay, now let's move on. Who's next? Second base, Altuve. I mean, kind of an easy tell. Altuve has to be, right? So we're going off average here. Altuve is the only guy with a one dot season right now. Who's got the 1 dot OPS? God, I keep butchering those words. And a 352 batting average. It's nowhere near close. So you got Simeon in third at a 256. Glaber for New York at 218. Really not. I mean, Jorge Polanco, damn, 181. He is really on the struggle bus here. Yeah, 352, and then it drops all the way to 289, dude. Altuve, and it's not even close. It ain't even close. Altuve takes the cake. Simeon, anybody else leading in anything else, or is Altuve just reigning high? Yep, Altuve. Yep, there he is, leading in every category of stat here, guys. 7 home runs. He is tied with Julian, however you pronounce his last name, with 7 home runs, which for Altuve, 7 home runs isn't horrible. I know he hits more normally. Here we go. Strikeouts. 20 strikeouts for Altuve is not horrible. But Nicky Lopez, but half. I mean, not as many games played, obviously, so he's not really a contender here. Torres is a little bit shocking here. 295 OBP, 274 slugging, 569 OPS. Yeah, I mean it's very clear. Altuve is a clear winner, and it's really not close, which is kind of crazy. Third base. Okay, so here we go. So we got Josh Smith. Obviously, I feel like Josh Young would be on this list if he didn't hurt himself earlier in the year. He would have been my go-to. Are we go? Should I go? I mean, injuries, or should we actually play who I think is the best? Who's obviously going to be in the league? Because truly, I mean, Oswaldo Cabrera is not a true third baseman. He's a utility guy. I'm not even going to consider him really. But yeah, Josh Smith on Texas batting 318. So it's not horrible, 923, but he's only has 88 at bats. Everyone's up in the hundreds almost. So he's a little bit behind. Like I said, he's obviously taking place for Young. Young's the guy, but Young's hurt. So this guy's stepping in, doing a pretty good job. Do I consider him like an all-star player at the moment? Not really. But damn, Bregman's pretty down there, 200. Damn. And Bregman, this is your year. You need to be making some plays. You need to be hitting some homers. You need to be doing something to sell your case to get paid this year. Come on, Bregman. Jose Ramirez, 240, not bad. Oswaldo Cabrera, Isaac Pereira. Okay. Westberg is good too, man. Westberg is good, but I think if we're going to go, I say we play with who's available at the moment, who's available here. I just don't go. Josh Smith doesn't sell me, dude. Doesn't sell me. I don't know. This is a tough one because there's really like not a whole lot of shining stars, at least in the American League. We get to the National League, it's going to be a different story. But here, damn, dude, like these stats are pretty weak. This Josh Smith guy is actually shocking me, but 88 at bats, 2 home runs, 12 walks, 17 strikeouts, but he's batting 318, 423 OBP, slugging 500, and OPS of 923. So if we're going to do this, like I said, we're going to cut out injuries. If you're not available now, you're not available. So if you're not on the stat line, if we're making an all-star lineup today, you're not here, you're not in it. So we got to go Josh Smith. Josh Smith is the ideal third baseman. I figured it would be Bregman. I was really thinking coming in here it would be Bregman, but no Bregman today, boys. We're going Smith. Josh Smith of Texas. Now, the one I've been waiting for. Short. Pena's at the list, Bobby Witt. So this is a tough one. The tough top three here, right here. Jeremy Pena, Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson. I think Gunnar Henderson is down right now. I think that he's, in comparison to stat-wise, he's not down because he's stroking. He's killing the ball. My hair's pissing me off. But in comparison to Jeremy Pena and Bobby Witt, Will Castro, Volpe started off really fucking strong. Kind of cooled off a little bit there with a 262 batting average. Corey Seager's another guy I thought would be a little bit higher up there. Rocio, Bichette way down there, almost at 205, dude. Damn. JP Crawford's been struggling a lot. 198. He hasn't been the guy. And then Javi Baez, 191. Listen, Javi Baez hasn't been Javi Baez in a long time. We know that. So not even going to consider him. There's some big names on this list. Bo Bichette, Corey Seager, Volpe. I really wanted Volpe to stay hot longer. He was like at the season started, he was batting like 400. It was something stupid. He really cooled off down to 262 with a 734. Still good stats. Good stat line. No doubt. But if we're looking at the top leader at the moment who's doing it all, these three guys right here. So an average Pena. So we're pretty much going to eliminate everybody here just because these three guys, Pena, Witt, and I don't know what just happened to my screen here. But okay, I guess we're gonna move it. We're gonna move it anyway. So we got Jeremy Pena here, Bobby Witt here, and then Gunnar Henderson. So as of average, Pena leads with a 333, Witt's 320, Henderson 272, OBP. We got Pena leading again, 375, not by much, only about 10 points higher than Bobby Witt. And then Volpe's actually a little bit higher than Henderson. Henderson's down, number 5 on OBP. Slugging, we got Gunnar Henderson. Obviously, he's got the more power. I think the more consistent power between him, Bobby Witt, and Pena. He's got the obvious power. Hits more home runs. He's got to be leaving the home runs. Yeah. 10. And he's hitting a lot of bombs. And the OPS is Gunnar Henderson. So I think power, slugging, everything. Pena has a great OPS, but I'm going to shock everybody. I'm going Gunnar Henderson. I'm a big Gunnar Henderson fan, so Henderson is going to be our shortstop. Now, let's move on to left field. Still in the American League. I'll try to speed this up a little bit, and we're moving pretty slow, but we are going through this. So, okay, so left field, we got, Stephen Kwan. Where's the average? 349. Oh, yeah. Stephen Kwan, 396 OBP, 349 average, slugging 496, and then OPS of 892. He's actually getting beat by somebody. Riley Green of Detroit with a 906 OPS. But in reality, that's the only guy coming anywhere close because Kwan leads in OBP. But Riley Green gets him in slugging. Not by a whole lot, by about 25 points. 24 points. No, I'm an idiot. 27 points. It's too early for math. Conha's a good guy. Evan Carter, pretty low here, dude. 222. He was the one that was like big last year and like really, really started off really slow. Kind of just speed walking into the season here. So hopefully he picks it up. Verdugo, my guy. 269. Not horrible, but that 805 OPS is pretty magical, dude. Pretty solid. Tied with Ward and Varsho. So I really wanted to put a Yankee on this list. I just can't do it. I just really can't do it. At least not in these spots. We'll wait till we get to right and we can talk about Soto, but right now it's not looking like there's a whole lot that I can add here. So honestly, slugging, but OPP, and then 906 is Riley Green, dude. Detroit's got some dudes, man. I swear they got some sleepers. No one thinks about them, but they got some sleepers. 7 home runs, Riley Green. I gotta go Kwan. I gotta just go Kwan. I have a feeling about him. I think Kwan's gonna end up on the up and up higher than Riley Green. I just believe it. Kwan is doing some stuff. So we got Kwan in left. Now, center field. Who we got? It's got Cedric. No, Cedric Mullins hasn't really been doing it. I thought Cedric Mullins, Mike Trout. Okay, but Mike Trout's technically hurt. So do we pick him? No, we got to get somebody else. So Mike Trout, unfortunately, is disqualified from this. He's hurt. Obviously, if he's playing, he's put up there. So Aaron Judge, 197. So if we're going to OPS, let's go off average. Let's check averages first. Julio Rodriguez is still the guy in center with a 270 average, beating everybody else. Whereas Mike Trout's only got a 220 average, so crazy, but he's got 10 jacks, so he's leading everybody in jacks by a lot, by at least from all these guys. Judge has 6, so he's shortly behind, but that 197 batting average is ugly. Mullins 212, 6 home runs as well. Taveras, after you did what you did at that in Jack Leiter's debut, is ugly, dude. No, you're definitely not getting picked. Too many errors. 250, Byron Buxton. I still think average is Julio, OBP, Jarren Duran, 338, Judge, 331 OBP. Slugging, let's see, slugging, 541. Still Mike Trout. And then OPS has to be Mike Trout too. Okay, so obviously no Mike Trout. Duran of Boston. I think the overall defensively and everything, not just going off of hitting stats, Julio Rodriguez is still the best pick. Slow start, yes, but he still has more, I think there's still more to give in that tank. I know he's started off really slow, going off some of these stats, but Julio Rodriguez is still the guy. He's still the guy. He's better than Duran. He's better than Buxton. I think he's got more durability than Buxton. And then the guys down the list. Obviously, Trout would be reigning. He'd be taking it. But like I said, if we're excluding injured guys right now, if we're making an all-star team today to play today, Mike Trout would not be on that roster because he is hurt. But we're going to go Rodriguez. So Julio Rodriguez in center field. Now, right field. Oh, no question. Juan Soto, 331, 1 dot season here with the OPS. Slugging percentage is 589. Ahmad Rosario with Tampa, not bad. 295, pretty good. 915 for Adolis is a close second, man. Adolis is a close second, but the average, Juan Soto is leading in just about every category. Kyle Tucker's another one that I'd be like, dude, Another one, 291. Not bad. Not bad. Slugging, Juan Soto. OPS, Juan Soto. So Soto reigns supreme here. Though there's a lot of close seconds. You got Adolis Garcia, Rosario, Springer. Some big names here. Adolis Garcia definitely and Kyle Tucker were the ones that were going to compete the biggest. But Juan Soto leads in literally every category, so I don't know how you can quite go with somebody else there. Okay. So now we got DH. I'm tough with the DH because anybody can DH. I mean, it's going to be a small group of guys. Wyatt Langford, I thought was an outfielder, but I guess he's going to just be the DH. Ryan Jeffers, Justin Turner. I think I like Wyatt Langford. I like the way he plays. I think he's not the stat leader at the moment. I guess if you're going to go off that, it has to be Jeffers, technically, because he's leading in just about everything. Yeah, I mean, in everything. Minnesota has a few shining pieces, though they haven't been playing technically that great. They've got some pretty good, some little pieces here. They can put some pieces together. These puzzle pieces together. They can figure something out. So Jeffers, I guess, not a crazy name. Oh, dude, what Jordan? What am I talking about? I talk about Jordan all the time. I think I'm stuck between. I get it. I guess I understand now why all-star teams have such a hard time making the decisions because this is fucking hard. There's a lot of good pieces here. I'm going Jordan. I don't care. Chastise me. Get upset. Jordan is my guy. And then if I had to pick a starting pitcher in the American League, not Timogi, in the American League, number one pitcher, Jose Barrios. Yep, I'm starting Jose Barrios. A lot of good options here. Tanner Houck is another good option here. 0.92 ERA. Wow. I'm sorry, that's whip. What am I talking about? 1.6 ERA. Sorry. 1.44 for him. You got Scooball's another big one. Ronald Blanco's a big name. Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller. Ooh, John Gray, Corbin Burns. Eovaldi left yesterday, so he's technically on the IL. Singer. There's so many great pitchers on this list. A lot of guys that are still doing good right before the 3 mark. I think there should be a line right there. It cuts it from below 3 because that's kind of the tell. Anybody down here, figure it out. Rodon got lit up last night. Rodriguez had a great outing, then goes down. It's Barrios. Barrios is your starter, man. He's a stud. Barrios. Okay, so to recap, the American League All-Star lineup, if we were to make it today, from Elijah from the Extra Innings podcast, the number one, the top lineup would be American League. Here we go. We got at the catching position, we got Salvador Perez. At first base, we got Josh Naylor. Second base, we got Altuve. Shortstop, we got Gunnar Henderson. Third, we got Josh Smith. Left field, Stephen Kwan. Center field, Julio Rodriguez. Right field, Juan Soto. DH, Alvarez. And then pitching is Jose Barrios. So, there, the American League lineup is done. Now, let's move on to the National League. All right. So we're not going to do pitching first. Definitely not starting with pitching. Okay. No, definitely not starting. Okay, so let's go to catcher. What? Oh, I already did the American League. What the hell? I was like, Salvador Perez playing in both leagues? Okay, so Will Contreras, obviously good dude. Wilson Contreras is a good close second. I think Will Smith is kind of getting slept on a little bit. I think in all, yeah, Will Smith takes it. OPS obviously by 8 points goes to Will Contreras for Milwaukee, but Will Smith is my guy here. Will Smith is the dude. Will Smith is the guy. No question. Strokes has a great defensive glove behind the plate. Will Smith is the dude, and it's not even. You got JT Realmuto's good. If you were to ask me last year, JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball. I think things have kind of switched a little bit. I think that there's some guys that have kind of crept up. So JT Realmuto was probably at the top of my list last year, maybe even the year before. No, not the year before, but definitely last year with some key guys out. Realmuto's the guy, but Contreras leads 950 by 8 points, down in slugging to Will Smith, up in OPS over Will Smith, but then down in average. I think OPS, slugging, OPS, 8 points. You're even. 8 points isn't that bad difference. Slugging, 55 here. So average, and that's got to go Will Smith. I think there's a couple categories that are really hit or miss. They're pretty much even. We're going to go Will Smith. Will Smith is my favorite there, for sure. Okay, now let's go to first base. Okay, so top 5 here off of OPS. Let's start with average. Freddie Freeman, 292, and then it drops to 283. OBP. Freddie Freeman again. Michael Busch here with the slugging percentage up only 2 over Christian Walker. Damn, what happened to Freddie Freeman? 417. Damn, he's down there. He's below Alonso, Harper, Hoskins, Joe, Cronenworth. Damn, he dropped big. That kind of hurt your case there, Freddie. I was almost thinking you were a straight shot. And then OPS again to Christian Walker. Okay. This one's tough. This one is split all the way through, dude. I holy shit, this is hard. Okay, so first base in the National League. Christian Walker here, not there. Most well-rounded. Let's go. How many at bats? Josh Bell. Excuse me. Josh Bell with the most at bats, but holy shit. So we can't even go off at bats because next would be Freddie Freeman. Home runs maybe helped Pete Alonso. No, because Pete Alonso's way down in average. God dang. This is a hard tell. Average and slugging. Damn, slugging kills Freddie, though. Walker. Okay. Call me biased. Call me lazy. I didn't do the full depth because I'm trying to keep this under a certain amount of time. I still go Freeman. I think Freeman's still the guy. He's down slugging, but his average is up, his OBP is up, and his OPS is slightly a little bit higher than most. I mean, he's pretty damn close to Connor Joe. He's about 40 points down from Christian Walker, but Christian Walker is about 30 points down in batting average. So it's like it just does this. It's like who are you gonna at that point? It's like who are you gonna take? Who's got the most notability? It's Freeman. Freeman's the guy. 2 Dodgers. Sue me. Christian Walker just doesn't have that piece. He's still young. He's still coming up. I think he made a name for himself last year in the postseason in the World Series. Christian Walker's a dude, no questions asked. But is he Freddie Freeman? No. Freddie Freeman is fucking Freddie Freeman. Cronenworth is another good one. Hoskins is a good player, but not quite there statistically. Harper's another great player, but still not quite there statistically. Goldschmidt. Alonso. I personally, just so we're throwing this out there, I think the National League is this more stacked division, just or conference, whatever you want to call it, conference, division, what league, whatever. Baseball's weird. Okay, so let's move on. We're gonna go to second base now. So we got 2 Dodgers. We got Will Smith in the catcher spot and Freddie Freeman at first. Wow. It's going to be Jeff McNeil. No, fuck you. Not Jeff McNeil. Huh. Bryson Stott, oof, down, dude. Down big. Xander Bogaerts down big. Ozzy Albies, 330, 892. I think Ozzy Albies leads in everything. It's going to be a sweep. Oh, Ketel Marte. Oh, that's the other way. Ketel Marte in OBP. I'm sorry, in slugging percentage. Okay. Back to Ozzy Albies. Yeah, Ozzy Albies kind of reigns supreme here, dude. Who's leading in home runs from second base, though? Ketel Marte. Damn, Albies only has 2, so he's down big in home runs. How many at bats? Who's leading in at bats? Arise, Bogaerts with 2. Yeah, they're really going to lean on Bogaerts to kind of fix this here in Boston. I'm sorry, in San Diego. I'm still thinking in the past. Ketel Marte, 127 at bats. Not bad. Yeah, it's got to be Albies. Albies leads in 3. And 3 of the key stat lines. Yeah, it's got to be. I'm trying to kind of quickly go through some of these other lines, but the top 3 is definitely going to be Albies, Ketel Marte, and then I think the other one is Turang. Yeah, Turang's up there too. Turang having a year coming out of nowhere from Milwaukee. 309, 370, 433, 803 OPS. Not freaking bad, dude. Not bad. But still, you're not really competing with Marte or Albies. So Ketel Marte has a better, I think, obviously has a stronger slugging percentage, has more power, though not by a whole lot. I still think Albies is the guy. Albies is the guy, and it's hard to go against that just simply because of, again, the tenure, the name he's built for himself. Ketel Marte kind of launched himself into the spotlight last year with some big games late in the season into the postseason. So we still need to see more from Marte. Albies is still the higher player, in my opinion. That's more than fair, and if you disagree, that's on you, bro. Okay. Now I think we're gonna go to third next. I keep thinking shortstop's gonna be next, but I'm pretty sure it's third base. Yeah. Okay. Alec Baum leading with OPS. Damn, Baum. Wow. Arenado 271. I like Nolan Arenado. He's a little bit of a hothead, but I think he's a good player. Max Muncy, Brett Beatty, Cabrian Hayes. Cabrian Hayes, okay. For anyone who didn't know, Cabrian Hayes plays for Pittsburgh. Super random. I love his custom glove. I actually had one. I sold it because your boy don't play no infield, so I don't need it. But had one. Cabrian Hayes has a sick A2000. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Thing's badass. I love that glove. It looks sleek, clean, nice little model there. Morel, not bad for Chicago. Chapman, pick it up. Suarez, not terrible. Riley, 235. Yeah, that was one of the things that I talked about kind of in my other thing and on socials was the Braves have such a well-rounded. Oh, and we did the power rankings. With a team, we're talking about Austin Riley. We're talking about some of these guys. The Braves have been, and I was talking about Ozzie Albies in the last position. For a team that has their superstars really not performing to their absolute best, they have such a well-rounded team that they're able to still win games and have one of the best records in baseball with their superstars not really showing up. Right here, Austin Riley's been an all-star the last couple of years, been an absolute tear the last couple of years, and just has not really been found the groove. He's at 235. It's low for him, really low for him. So anyway, back to the top. The top three are going to have to be Alec Baum, McMahon, Arenado. Oh, Muncy hops up there in OBP, 350s and third, still nowhere near the 400s like these other guys. But I think another clean sweep from Alec Baum. Yeah, Alec Baum, go off one time, dude. Leading every spot. Who's leading in home runs? Morel, 5 home runs for Chicago. And who's leading in at-bats? Who's got the most at-bats? Chapman with 124 at-bats, 226 average. I think Chapman busts out of this little slump he's in. Anyone who was with Scott Boras, I think is going to need a little bit of a warm-up time because they got fucked totally in this whole offseason and spring training. So anyone pretty much that's come from Scott Boras, whether that's Montgomery, whether that's Snell, whether that's Chapman, they're going to need some time to kind of readjust because they got absolutely fucked. I could talk about that all day. I think I'm going to make a segment about that because that's something that needs to be talked about. The fall off of Scott Boras from being one of the top heralded agents in baseball to him just taking an absolute nosedive with this past offseason is insane. I mean, shit, Montgomery fired his ass the minute that he signed. He was like, I'm done. Can't do this anymore. Fired your ass immediately. Scott Boras used to be probably the most well-known, like the biggest, baddest baseball agent ever. He's represented some of the best in the game. Alex Rodriguez, some of the biggest names in baseball, and now we're here, and he can't even get players to sign weeks before spring training. Insane. A whole nother conversation to have. It just upsets me. But yeah, leading in everything is going to be Alec Baum at third base, and it's not even close. So Alec Baum surprising the shit out of me. No, not John. Baum. Oh, wait, what? Oh, it's upside down. Dummy. Okay. Now, let's go shortstop. Now we're at the shortstop spot. Let's see. Mookie. I made a whole fucking. We're not even going to talk about shortstop right now. We're not even going to talk about it. You already know who I'm going with. And if you don't follow us in our content, go check out my latest video talking about Mookie Betts, how he's probably the best player in baseball and sometimes gets overshadowed by his teammates. Hot take. No. Trey Turner's not bad either. 841, but Mookie Betts it's just fucking stupid, dude. It's just what? 377. He's leading in every category. He's leading in like every category and about everything. But what makes Mookie Betts such an important player and what makes him so good is how expendable he is. You could put that fucker anywhere and he's gonna just shine. He's played outfield his whole career. I know that he's filled in a couple times. I think it's second base. I don't think I've seen him at short before. And if I haven't, I'm just being an idiot and maybe can't remember. Like I said, it's early here, guys. Cut me a break. But Mookie Betts is the best player in baseball right now, and it's not even close. I mean, look at these guys. Look at these points. 377, 481, 623, 1.104. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's some shit that I'm doing with guys in the show. This is real life. Obviously, a lot of great names on this. You got Swanson, Lindor, Arceus, Kim, Wynn, Turner, Adames, Abrams, Cruz, Betts. Every shortstop on this fucking list is a stud. Barring these two. O'Neill Cruz, I think, was a... but even then, the lowest average of the top 13 shortstops is Francisco Lindor at 207, which is still not horrible because he was in a slump and he kind of broke out of it last night with his little flu game we talked about earlier in the episode. But O'Neill Cruz needs to pick it up a little bit. Ellie De La Cruz, though, go off one time, dude. 968 OPS, 280 batting average. Abrams is another guy who came out of nowhere, but is really shining this year and just kind of surprised a lot of people. Mason Wynn, another guy kind of tearing it up. Ooh, light just turned on there. Trey Turner, obviously tearing it up. Trey Turner, 336, not freaking bad, dude, but you're no Mookie. You're no Mookie. All right. Like I said, pretty much a wash. If you're in the shortstop category, Mookie Betts is going to wipe the field with you, basically. All right. We got left field, Mr. Irrelevant here. We got Jerickson Profar, 342. Damn. I'm wondering if that sparked after that whole thing with Will Smith, if that was what kind of caused him to go on this little tear he's got going on here. Then we got Brandon Marsh in second with 266. Well, that's a big drop. It's almost a 100-point drop. Damn. Let's check out OBP. I think it's going to be a sweep of Profar. Yep, no, and that's not even a conversation. It's easy for me when it's like this, but it's also not as fun because it's like, well, who else are we going to pick? You got Nimmo down there, Conforto, Lourdes Gurriel, who's I'm not a fan of Lourdes. I think he's a great defensive player, but I think he's a free swinging maniac at the plate. I don't really know what's going to happen when he comes up to the plate. I really don't. Brian Reynolds, Winker, Steer, yeah, Profar, and it ain't even close. Again, another clean sweep. Let's see. Oh, no, wrong. I'm going to change the division. Here we go. Center field. Let's go center field. Perkins, Doyle, Harris, Benson, Chisholm, Jackson Merrill, Jung-Ho Lee, Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll, what is happening with Corbin Carroll, dude? 197. He is struggling. Was the talk of the league last year. Solidified himself the year before Rookie of the Year. He's just had an off season so far. 547 OPS, 197 average. So he's on the struggle bus here, guys. Really tough there. But let's see who's running it. So we got this is going to be a toss up, I think, in center field here. So we got Doyle leading in average, Perkins leading in OBP, Doyle leading in sluggage, Perkins. It's a flat change. Okay, so we got Doyle and Perkins, Colorado, Milwaukee. I'm going Perkins. I think Perkins has more of an upside here. I think that he's going to keep going up. I think his average is slightly down, but OPS is hot. He's down there, but his OBP's up. So his on-base percentage is solid, I think, by a lot more. OPS. Only 4 points down, but average. Damn, it's tough with Doyle, though. Because I'm not really big fans of either of these guys. Obviously, Corbin Carroll, I'm more of a fan of him. I think Jazz Chisholm has some swag. I don't think he's that great. I think he's good. He's a good ball player. He's more of a personality than anything, which makes it fun. So, hey, props to him. Jackson Merrill is another good dude for San Diego. Jung-Ho Lee at center field. This is like the sleeper category for the National League. Let's see at bat wise. Hold on before we kind of go. Okay, so at bats we have Michael Harris leads, but he's 294. Jazz Chisholm. So Doyle technically has more at bats than Perkins by a lot. So we're gonna have to go Doyle. Doyle will take it. 300 average flat. Not bad, Brendan Doyle. You're making the team, son. Okay. Right field is where it gets a little bit more fun here. Outfield is just, I'm like, whatever. Tatis, let's see. Tatis going off. Teoscar Hernandez. Nick Castellanos, number 3 on at-bats. They're going to play Nick Castellanos no matter what. Here we go. Let's check average. Talkman from Chicago. Go off. Talkman, is this going to be a clean sweep? It's going to be a clean sweep, baby. Let's go. Yep. Talkman for the Chicago. Chicago tearing it up, dude. Chicago is tearing it up. I can't say anything about it. Yeah, so you got Teoscar Hernandez, Tatis. Dude, pick it up, Tatis. Where is he at? Let's see. So Tatis, so you got Talkman there. Acuna Jr. in second in OPP. Slugging Teoscar Hernandez, number 3. Tatis. So another slow start for Tatis. Okay. Yeah, so Talkman, Mike Talkman from Chicago. You're in right field, dude. Okay, let's check DH now. Can you? Ooh, Ozuna. Forgot about Ozuna. Okay, so we're not even going to look at the drop in OPS here and look at the drop in average from here to here to here, dude. That's a big. So from Ozuna to Brian De La Cruz of Miami, look at this jump here. 321 drops to 261 and just gets lower and lower. So in average, we have Ohtani. OBP, we have Ozuna. Slugging, we have Ozuna. And then OPS, we have Ozuna. So Ozuna is technically... So I saw John Boy was getting shit for theirs that they put out. Obviously, shout out to them. They kind of inspired me to do this. I've never done this before. So I was like, I'm going to do this. Sounds fun. They got kind of shit on by a couple people for putting Ohtani over Ozuna. Like, what does Ozuna have to do to be your designated hitter? Ozuna, kind of a scumbag in the past, has been in some trouble here and there. But dude is busting out of himself here, dude. Tearing it up. 127. So he leads in everything besides average. It's not a clean sweep, but he's better than Ohtani in quite a few places as of today. If we're looking today and today only, like I said, some of these stats are literally 1 to 3 at bats difference. That's really what this is. It's really not that big a difference. They're pretty much even. Like I said, you're talking a 1 to 3 at bat difference at the most in stuff here between an out and a hit or on base or not on base. So yes, Ohtani can do multiple things, but if right now, like, okay, so if you were to compare the two, normally Ohtani is the two-way guy. He's the more valuable player, obviously worth the $700 million, throws 100 miles an hour. Ozuna can play outfield at best when he's not DHing. So the two, when you look at them on paper, Ohtani's the more valuable player. But if we're looking at it currently, like I said, if we're looking at this currently right now at this moment only, if you're looking at this moment entirely only and looking at them evenly as DH and DH, Ozuna takes the cake here. Ozuna is technically, as of right now, as of today, I'm not saying tomorrow, I'm not saying earlier this season, because I know people are going to get all bent out of shape about this, because Ohtani's Ohtani. Ozuna is playing better today or yesterday and the day before than Ohtani is playing right now. So I'm going with Ozuna. I'm ruffling some feathers. Ohtani, you're still a stud. Don't get me wrong, but Ozuna has the better stat line. Ozuna it is. Now let's go pitching. All right, so we got to pick a pitcher here. National League, we got Imanga from the Cubs, dude. Woo! Tear it up, dude. .78 ERA. 6 games played, 6. This is stupid. But then again, you have Ranger Suarez, who's also stupid. Then you got Reynaldo Lopez, who's also stupid. And Hicks has tore it up. Dude, the National League is insane. So we'll stop it here, I think, below the 2, just because there's so many guys sub 2 right now. Severino, too, dude. Severino, I was telling my girlfriend the other day, we're sitting watching, and I've rooted for Severino since he was with New York, because he's just, I've wanted him to win. I don't know what it is, if it was just when I really started getting into like the analytics of baseball, and I'm a Yankee guy, obviously, so I just wanted him to be the guy. He was supposed to be the guy in New York, but for the Yankees, New York. And then it just never really panned out. He was hurt. There's a lot of issues. Just couldn't quite get that piece. And I get that, obviously from playing in the Bronx to playing in where the Mets play, I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to say where they play. I don't know for sure, because I'm not a Mets fan. I've never been to Mets Stadium. I've been to Yankee Stadium like 6, 7 times. Never one step foot in Mets Stadium, in Citi Field. Playing in New York on one side of the city, on the other is two different games, right? So some people can strive in New York City, in the Bronx, and some can strive on the other side. Bronx is a different ballgame, man. So I don't think he just quite had what it takes. Some people sink, some people swim in the Bronx. So I don't think he had what it took to play there. Tearing it up on the other side of the street, though, with the Mets. So good for him. Glasnow is tearing up the Dodgers. He's the best the Dodgers have. But obviously pretty low when it comes to ERA, especially when you're looking at, look at this, a .78 ERA. I can't even go with anybody else. This is a starter, dude. He's just tearing it up. And you got Cease, Perez, Webb. So this thing still has a bunch of studs too. Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, Charlie Morton, Zach Gallen down here, but only a 338. Tear it up still. Like all these ERAs, 360. Not great, but they're not bad. These are still solid ERAs. Every starter in the National League seems to just be absolutely tearing it up. This is ridiculous. I think if you mark it, if you cut the line right here at Logan Webb and you go down Jared Jones, no, still a 3.20 ERA is not bad in 40 innings, dude. Like all of these ERAs, I'm seriously impressed. I hadn't been really delving into the pitching stats of like as a whole of the league, but wow. Insanity. But Shota Imanga, is that how you say it? Imanga, yeah. Imanaga, .78 ERA. Not even close. Okay. So now that we have that done, I'll stop sharing my screen and we'll recap because I know I've been here for about 45 minutes now. We've been here for a fat minute. Okay, so we'll recap. Let's start with the American League. We'll go over the American League one more time, and then we'll recap. We'll recap our National League, right? So we got for the American, we had Salvador Perez at the plate, behind the plate, Naylor at first, Altuve at second, of course, Henderson at shortstop, Gunnar Henderson, Josh Smith at third, Stephen Kwan in left, Julio Rodriguez in center, Juan Soto in right. Go Yanks. Yordan, okay, big one that I thought maybe I missed this one just because I'm personally think that Yordan's a great fucking player and he's down a little bit. Yordan Alvarez is the DH, and then pitching is Berrios because he's just absolutely on a fucking tear. And then for the National League, we got. Going into this morning because I'm sitting here. I normally sit here and I strategize before I make these episodes. I thought I'm gonna try to keep as many Dodgers out of this as I can. Not to be a dick, I just think that there's a lot of other guys shining out, and the Dodgers take a lot of the spotlight sometimes. So I wanted to not put that many Dodgers. I got 3. Almost 4, but got 3. So Will Smith behind the plate for LA. Freddie Freeman playing first base. Albies at second base. Shortstop Mookie Betts, because, I mean, that was we shouldn't have even looked at those stats. Wouldn't even be close. Alec Baum surprising the absolute shit out of me at third base. Jurickson Profar, Mr. Irrelevant, the beef with the Dodgers. He's in left. Brandon Doyle in center field, another guy shocking with those stats. Keep tearing it up. Mike Tauchman from Chicago, another guy. He's going to be in right. DH, and we have Ozuna. That was such a close tie between him and Ohtani. You're talking like minuscule difference. Like I said, 1-3 at bat difference between their stats. The difference could have been a leader between a pop fly and a ground ball or a ball through the hole or a Texas League. Anything, like I'm saying, 1-3 at bat difference in those stats there. And then in Managa with a .78 ERA. So those are my stacked lineups, guys. If we're making all-star teams today, those would be my lineups. I've never done that before, so that was pretty fun. So going through some of these stats is interesting, and I think it's always fun to check it out and see. I know like I said, we're about a month into the season, a little over a month, so we're still super early. A lot of these guys still have plenty of time to turn around. You're going to have some sleepers pop out of nowhere and make names for themselves. There's still a lot more coming in baseball, but thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Check us out. We got a lot of short-form content on there, a lot of more baseball news-ish stuff that's a little bit different from the podcast, so we got a lot of different content flowing out. We've even got breakdowns on my YouTube channel as well as the podcast. If you don't want to listen on Apple, Spotify, you want to watch me talk, check it out. It's on YouTube. So, like I said, guys, thanks for listening. I'm not sure if there'll be an episode tomorrow, so just kind of be on the lookout. Turn on your notifications. I haven't decided yet, but if I do one, be sure to check it out, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for listening.